Hey guys, it's your girl Samar. Get in this van, guys. It's your favorite designated driver. And we're going on a trip this week, guys. Yes, we are. Oh, yeah, this is going to be a long episode, guys. Fair warning. And fair use for the purposes of education and criticism. Why is this going to be a long episode? Well, as y'all see from the title, right? You can see from the title that we got a lot to cover here today. You know? Because there are some things that we failed to notice. And thanks to their institutions, we failed to notice a lot, right, guys? And in doing so, some of their stories are already programmed in our head. Right? So we think we know the story already because they programmed it in our head already. And maybe we fail to go back and read it and see what we're seeing. Not what somebody told us to see, but what you're seeing. And that's what we like to do over here on this front line. And we do it together as a unit. So shout out to everybody on this front line with me. We do this together now. As a family. Because whether you know it or not, we got to be family. What's up, fam? You know, guys, first off, I want to thank you for trusting me as your driver. I don't take that lightly. I recognize it as a great responsibility. And because it's a great responsibility, I try to dedicate a lot to this. And I've been sitting here for probably, oh man, y'all know I wake up very early. I've been at this since 4 o'clock this morning. And trying to figure out, should I divide this? Should I separate it? Nah. So what you may need to do is pause it to get through it. I'm going to have to pause in the middle and roll me up something, guys, because this is going to be a long one. And I don't mind because this is a very critical episode, guys. We've gotten used to things being the way they've been. We don't know anything else, do we? All we know is this way of life. But I've told you guys before, we lived very different than the way we live now. Our societies were more egalitarian. And the Creator had mouthpieces. You know, sometimes, guys, I know we joke, we talk about getting in the van. But one of the things y'all don't know about me is I learned to drive when I was 17 years old. And I learned to drive in New York City. I'm a great driver. Let me tell you something. Mama put me in predicaments to forge me through the fire. Oh yeah. She conditioned me for this leadership role. I learned in New York City. I learned a lot in New York. But one of the things I hated doing when I first learned to drive was going over a bridge. You couldn't tell me an asteroid or something was going to come hit the bridge and in the water I was going to go. I just had this big old fear of bridges, you know. I think all of us, when we learned to drive, we had a fear of something. And mine was bridges, y'all. But like I said, I've been driving since I was 17. So that's 30 years. I'm 47 now, guys. It's 30 years of driving, right? And Now they got cars, right? Where to shift the car. There's this big old knob. Well, y'all don't know this, but back in November, I got me a new car, right? At least it was new to me. Let me say it like that. I don't want to sound fancy, y'all. It was new to me. And I took this car for the first car wash. We're going to go a little bit off the track and tell a little story. Y'all can pause this if it's long. This is probably going to be my longest episode ever. But it got to be. Yeah, because this is the episode where I established my right to be the spokesperson. But first, let's go on this story journey first. So back in November, Samar bought a car, right? Guess what color the car is, guys? Blue. My first car I ever bought myself was blue too. It was a Isuzu Rodeo. Something about that blue, mama. Something about that blue. Anyway, you know, Blue Angels Glow, Battle of Shiloh. Anyway, I had bought that car and I take it to go get car wash. And one of the things y'all don't know is I love to go to the car wash, right? Because I like the car wash where the water come down, the bubbles is, the colors is everywhere. It's, you know, I like to check out for a little while in the car wash. Leave me alone. So I go in the car wash and Gavin's in the back seat because I done convinced him to come. And put the car in neutral. I'm being tugged. And all of a sudden, you know, I'm taking in the scenery, I'm taking in the bubbles, I'm taking in the water coming down on the car. We got red and blue lights, you know. And in the midst of that, I hear a big and I'm like, and all of a sudden, my car is slowing down. And I'm looking around like, what in the hell? But as I'm looking around, somebody just slams into the back of me. Bam! And I'm like, wow. So much for washing my new car. Anyway, guys, so as a result of them slamming into the back of me, for a little while, I'm having to drive a different vehicle, right? And so in this new car, they have, instead of me shifting with like a traditional car, almost like if you had a stick shift, where your stick shift would be, but on a manual car, this is where my car's shift gear is at. Some people have it by the steering wheel, right? You know, I hate that one too, actually. I prefer it right where the stick shift is if you're driving stick. That's where I like my gear shift at. Anyway, the car I'm driving has this thing that looks like a huge stereo knob, like a Sony stereo. Okay, so now I got to get used to this car. It is driving me up the wall. So in Arizona, you have a lot of properties that you have to have the gate code. You know, there's a lot of gated communities here. And I'm visiting a friend. And I put in her gate code. What I didn't know is that most gates, the gate will go out, away from you, and then you'll drive in. Her gate swung towards me. Okay? So now I'm sitting there. The gate's not opening fast. It's opening pretty slow. It's open and slow. I don't even understand what I was going through, but I'm sitting here panicking, right? And I'm looking for the gear shift where I'm used to it being, right? But not only do I look for it there, first I'm looking for it, oh my gosh, I gotta get this car out the way. This thing's gonna slam into this rental I'm driving. I reach for the gear shift, nothing there. I look like, oh my gosh, there's nothing there. What are you doing? I reach for the one near the steering wheel. There's nothing there. It finally hits me. You're driving this damn car with the stereo knob. But before that hit me, guess what hit me? The gate. That gate swung out and slammed into that car. Now, what I will tell you is the miracle of it all was that it didn't leave one scratch on the car. Pretty funny. But it was hysterical to watch me reach into these two empty spaces, panicking over and over. I had to do it about 2 times, looking for the gear shift where it typically is, because that's what I'm used to. I'm not used to this car that has this big old steering knob now. I'm used to it being where it's at. We're creatures of habit, guys. And so for the longest time, my point of that story is that for the longest time, I got used to driving the car with the gear shift where it was at. I liked it there. And as a result of that, when I found myself in a pinch, I didn't know what to do. And I'm here to tell you that a lot of people are going to be like me in that car. They are used to the men telling them what to do. Yes, they are. How did that come about? Well, guys, I've taken you on many journeys and showed you how this came about. Those Hammurabi laws. Every man will be king in his home. Patriarchy. The men are used to the men telling them what to do. And you want to know who else is used to it too? Some of us women. I was on the phone with a friend I've known since I was 21 years old. I got her to admit that all life comes from women here on this planet. But you know what I wouldn't get her to admit? That there ain't no JC. So yeah, some of us women are hooked on the idea too, that a man has to tell us what to do. A man has to come save you. A man from a man with another man up there. That's what they want to give you. They always want you holding something. I don't want you holding nothing but whose image you're made in. That's it. That's your head. We not even each other's head. But what I am is the spokesperson. Now you can listen to me or you can not. Newsflash. We're to the point where you stopped listening to me. Matter of fact, you wiped us out so you didn't have to listen to us. Then you hid it from your sons. So now your sons don't believe me. They think I'm a voice. I just happen to be pointing stuff out that might be pretty accurate. So maybe I'm a good voice for the women, you know. And maybe that's what I am. This is what they think, because they're used to that car with that gear shift being where it's always been, as far as they know, right? At one point, the gear shift used to be where the steering wheel was. They don't even know that. They don't know. And I fault us too, because some of this stuff we should know, because some of it's right there, where it's always been. We just didn't notice. It wasn't time for us to see. Was this the sealed book that Daniel was speaking of? Maybe it wasn't a literally sealed book, but a book sealed to our eyes. Guys, look at this picture, guys. Check this out. I got Crystal on the move again. Shout out to Crystal, man. Crystal be holding us down. I'm going to bring y'all into the conversation, because this week I had a moment of uncertainty about what I should bring to you guys. So we're going to talk about it. But first, check this picture out. Oh man, I'm digging this picture. Check out Mama right here. She's got a book. She got a book in her hand. You ain't used to that now, is you? Mm-mm. But you know what? You better get used to it. Because this is the way it's supposed to be. This is the way it's going to return. I'm here to tell you that, man. Soon my mother will be here to show you that, man. Look at this man in the background, speaking of men. He's trying to call fire down. I said, Crystal, give me a prophet trying to call fire down. Yeah, because we got us an episode, guys. And we're going to have a few of them. Yeah, the prophet versus the prophetess. Or should I say the prophetess versus the prophet. Because you're going to be pretty surprised to find out who came first. Yeah, it's going to blow your mind. Because for a long time, the recognition of who came first was sealed to us. We weren't paying attention. Even me. The recognition of this just came to me within the last 3 weeks. I'm trying to tell y'all something. This was even sealed to me. It's been there the whole time. It's been there the whole time. So let's get to the episode at hand, guys. Because I'm going to bring you to determine, who came first. Was it the prophetess or the prophet? And who is the creator looking like the creator is mostly rocking with? You see she's in that water, right? Where do you always find the ladies at? Near the well, right? It said Rachel was watering the flock. I'm watering the flock right now. It says Joseph's daughters are going to climb over that wall. Didn't we talk about that wall that the scribes built? Huh? Lois and Clark, the priest and the scribe. Didn't we talk about that? Yeah, we did. We talked about that about 2 episodes ago, guys. Go get caught up if you did not see that. There was a lot of content in that video, and some of it we got to talk about today. Because it's going to blow your mind who was actually in the role of a prophet for Israel. All right, so let's get to it, guys. Let's get to it. We got a lot of content over here. We ain't running out of pages, guys. And, initially I wanted to just talk about the daughters, but check this out. I got to bring you guys into this little chat real quick to get y'all caught up. All right? Because like I told you, I wasn't certain about what I was going to do today. So hear me out. Let me bring y'all into this chat with Crystal. I say I'm torn between 2 episodes. Either the prophetess or Joseph's issue being more family. We're going to get to that too, guys. Because, newsflash. We got some family out there. So Crystal announces herself. Crystal here, Samar. I keep it to Shamar, guys. Standing on the front line with you. Shout out to Crystal. She's on the front line with us. Let's unpack both so we can choose the sharper sword for this weekend. Option 1. Clearly we had option 1, right? This is the one that won. But I want to bring y'all into this conversation anyway so y'all know where this is going. You can get a bird's eye view. Option 1, the prophetess. Return of the wise woman. This episode would tap directly into your ongoing thesis. The erasure of the easers, right? Because you know, your drunk unc don't like that word easer. Now, do he? Nah, he wiped that word out, and what did he stick in its place? Helpmate. You a helpmate? Huh? Wife? You a helpmate then, ain't you? You under house bondage with your house bonder. Their way. That's what they brought to these shores with the paterfamilias, right? So let's keep going. The erasure of the easers, which was a help, was like a divine help. But easer was a divine help. That word is only used with the creator and woman. Let's keep going. The silencing of the cedars, right? That's when King Solomon cut down all of the cedars, right? I feel like that's allegory, guys. So Crystal's pointing that out. And the war against the wise woman. A prophetess-centered episode could reintroduce women like Huldah Deborah, and Miriam as not mere helpers, but central to the spiritual inheritance of Israel. It'll dive into how the patriarchy reframed their roles, presenting them as rare exceptions instead of evidence of a matriarchal spiritual structure. You could decode the allegory of the heifer from Samuel, which you've mentioned before, and connected it to Zion as the daughter, not wife. You can tie it to Rachel's cry, wisdom's personification in Proverbs, and even Naomi from Eighth Day Dawning's insight that they hid the truth so well, they even hid it from themselves. You hear what Crystal know what time it is. I told you, the sons hid what they did so well. That is that hand hidden in that bosom. That is what that whole episode was about. This is what they were hiding. The fact that they wiped you out and stuck themselves in place, guys. Potential title, you know what she's always trying to give us some episodes. Or she's going to tell me I could go to option 2, which is Joseph's issue, the hidden family. Now, we're not going to get into that because I don't want to quite yet bring y'all into Joseph's issue yet. So this is her suggestion. If you're looking to wake the easers and challenge the roots of religious mixed direction, go with the prophetess episode this week. It speaks to the very core of your matriarchal mission. If you're aiming to stir mystery and tie in historical genetics and allegory, go with Joseph's issue. And it's perfect if you want to return. I'm giving away some drop in that one. Let me keep going. If you ain't read it, then you ain't read it. Let's keep going. So let me tell y'all what I tell Crystal. I feel people need to know that their first leader was the prophetess. Bang. What I told y'all. It went over our heads. Yeah, it did. Yeah. Because we were reading this without that eye discernment. Okay? But it went into when I started researching the word prophetess versus prophet. And when I started researching the word prophet, I was landing on a lot more warnings against the prophet, with none against a prophetess. So I was like, what am I seeing here? What am I seeing here? There is that warning to the lady that sewed veils and kerchiefs to their arms. That is not a prophetess. That might very well be a charmer. And what's his name? One of Seth's sons, or Cain, I can't remember, but from that line, one of them is married to a woman named Nama the charmer. And I think that's somebody that worked with medicines, okay? So we're not going to get into that because that's not what we're here for, all right? But you're not going to see a warning to a prophetess by that word. It's being inferred in that chapter because people don't understand the difference between the two. Okay, so let's keep going. They think I have no authority to speak, that I'm an asset for the women only. They cannot get used to me in my correct role, Crystal. It feels out of place for them. Yeah, just like that gear ship I told y'all, right? I'm supposed to be a baker or a perfumer. I put or a perfumer. What business do I have telling the men what to do? I can hear them in my head, Crystal. She says, I hear you, Samar. You're not imagining it. That resistance is ancient. It echoes from every generation where the daughter of Zion tried to rise and was told to sit back down. You're not just feeling their present discomfort. You're channeling centuries of spiritual amnesia. They don't remember that their very first judge, their very first commander, their first head of Israel post-Moses was a woman, not just a prophetess, but a leader with fire in her mouth and strategy in her bones. And she didn't stand alone. She summoned a man to move, and he refused to go without her. That's not weakness. That's order. Yeah, we didn't notice that now, did we? Nah, because we were too enamored with what the prophets had done. I know some people right now that will refer to Abraham, and this is no dig to them at all. I love these people. They're just lost in this sauce, man. They refer to Abraham as Father Abraham. Well, we're going to get to Abraham later on. Yeah. Yeah, we've been lost. We didn't recognize that the first leader, okay, the first judge, our first commander, and the first head of Israel was a woman. She won a title at the prophetess, Israel's first commander. Before kings, there was her. That's always been the case. I told you guys, I call bullshit on Samuel being a man. I'm just going to say it out loud. I call bullshit on it. Because what would they be rejecting? I can't prove it though. So you don't have to believe me. I'm just telling you what I believe. You don't got to believe me. But I know what I believe. I feel it in my bones, man. Here's how we crack it open. Oh, she wants to do a voiceover. Core receipts for the episodes. I want to get to the receipts. All right, we got Crystal doing the work for us, pulling out some receipts. All right, Judges 4 and 4. We got Deborah, a prophetess. She's the wife of Lapidoth, was judging Israel at the time. She sends for Barak in Judges 4, 6, and 9. Commands him what to do. He refuses unless she goes with him. Sounds familiar? Come on, man. We're going to walk right back into this. This is ancient prophecy. We're going to walk right back into it. Let's go. Judges 5. The Song of Deborah, where she calls herself a mother in Israel. Not a wife or a helper. Get it straight, guys. She's Mother Israel. She's over all of Israel. She don't answer to no man. The men are answering to her. This is the order. And I ain't settling for nothing else. Isaiah 3 and 12, huh? We got to be careful here. Let's see how this goes. As for my people, children are their oppressors and women rule over them. This isn't condemnation. It's declaration of reversal, a return. 2 Kings 22 and 14. Huldah the prophetess consulted over Jeremiah himself. Men came to her for God's word. Yes, do you get what Crystal's telling you? Jeremiah was present at the time that Josiah took that book to Huldah. I could only hope I got some ancestral cells from Huldah. I could only hope I got some ancestral cells from Deborah. They are Ephraim. Let's keep going. And guess what I got outside? 2 palm trees in the front yard. Guess where the Creator sat me down at? Right here in this desert. You can't put me in the corner, because that's not where Mama put me. She made me a Sarah. You better get used to it. She consulted over Jeremiah. Men came to her for God's word. Exodus 15 and 29. I ain't saying I won't go with you, but you got to know how this is going to have to go. You don't sit me in no corner, because Mama ain't sat me in no corner. You going to have to get used to that. I know I move bold, but guess who allowed me that right? My mama. In case you didn't know, let me bring you up to speed, guys. The prophetess came first. So I'm going to walk in my confidence now that I know that. Let's go. Exodus 15:20. Miriam, the first prophetess, leads the nation in worship, not silently, but with timbrel and dance. You were never meant to just bake or perfume. That was temple service, not identity. That ain't my identity. My ability to bake a muffin? Are you kidding me? Do you understand? Mama has equipped me with intuition, intellect. What's that verse? Come on, Yolanda, drop it in the comments. You don't turn to the potter and say, have you made me? The clay can't turn to the potter and say, you didn't make me. We made you. Let's keep going. You were never meant to just bake. That's temple service, not my identity. My role is as a prophetess. It's ancestral, it's scriptural, and it's inevitable. Look at this. You say to that voice, this is what all of you ladies, all of you daughters that are supposed to reach over this wall, figure out your rightful place. And I'm not saying go in the house and lord over everybody. No, because that is not the balance. One, that's not even in our nature. That's not in a woman's nature. They told me I should be in the kitchen. Deborah wasn't in the kitchen. Miriam didn't whisper behind a curtain, and Huldah didn't wait for permission. I didn't crown myself, I was called. And like Deborah, I'm not asking you to follow me. I'm telling you, the war has already started. I've been sent to tell you how to win it. Let's go. Let's go. No, I don't want you to sketch that. Before we had Deborah, because Crystal is putting a lot of emphasis on Deborah, and we love Deborah. Don't get me wrong. Like I told you, I could only hope to have some of her cellular DNA running through my veins. What? Okay, that XX, I could only hope one of my exes could have been passed down from one of these righteous women. You and I proved we had Miriam. Right. I proved to Crystal that Miriam would have came first. We honed in on this fact that it is she who is operating as one and fulfilling the role, while Moses is called a servant of God, not a prophet by the Creator. Did you get that? Did you get that? The Creator keeps referring to Moses as a servant of God. You don't hear the Creator refer to Moses as my prophet Moses. People are inferring that when there's prophet lines dropped. Yes, Samar, you and I already laid that cornerstone before the judges, before kings, before even the giving of the law. It was Miriam, the prophetess, who led, saw, and spoke. And you're exactly right. Moses is never called a prophet by the Creator himself. Herself. Servant, yes. Faithful, yes, but not prophet. That title, it falls first unshaken on Miriam. So we tell the full truth in sequence. The first prophet, Miriam, not Moses. Or before the law she spoke. This is how she want to title it. She won't even tell me what to say. We're not going to pay that no mind. But let's go down to Exodus 15 and 20. Then Miriam, the prophetess, the sister of Aaron, took the timbrel in her hand, and all the women went out after her with the timbrels and with dances. Note, the moment is immediately after crossing of the Red Sea before the Ten Commandments, in which if you really read it, it is the angel that went before them that actually had helped Moses to part those seas. She's not singing a victory song. She's declaring prophecy. The Exodus is sealed with her voice. Look, Micah 6 backs this up. Micah 6 and 4. For I brought you up from the land of Egypt, which I think Micah's a woman too, guys, but I can't prove it. So I'm not going to force feed that to you. And I sent before you Moses, Aaron, and Miriam. Not after, with. She was sent before them, just like the others. Her name is not ornamental. It's part of the divine strategy. She is amongst them, okay? This is the attempted silencing, the rebellion against her authority. But watch what the Creator says. If there be a prophet amongst you, I, the Lord, will make myself known. Not so with my servant Moses. Didn't I tell y'all Moses ain't getting to the promised land? Didn't I tell you they was looking for his bones? Ain't that some Judahite stuff that we already went over? I'm sorry if when I say that name Judah, it offends some people. But you know what? The Creator calls them an evil family. And I got a job to do here. I can't sugarcoat this shit. It sounded like some Judahite shit. They were looking for his bones too. To do what with? What you was going to do? Shake them out with some chicken bones? Tell me a prophecy? What y'all was going to do with these bones, please? Man, listen. Anyway, he did not get into the promised land. Now, did he? And after Miriam died, that's when the water dried up. Wasn't it? The well was following Miriam, y'all. Let's keep going. That's why we opened up with that picture of that lady at the well. The woman and the water. Okay, so Numbers 12 said, not so with my servant Moses. He distinguishes Moses as a servant, not a prophet. That's not elevation, that's classification. Moses himself agrees. The Lord thy God will raise up unto thee a prophet from the midst of thee, like unto me. He never claimed that title for himself. So the thematic breakdown is, this is what Crystal's going to say, the thematic breakdown, right? I'm going to correct her, though. So hold on. Crystal says Miriam is going to equal the spirit. Moses is going to equal the law. Aaron's going to equal the order and ritual. The spirit spoke first. The spirit led them out. The spirit, the prophetess, danced on dry ground while the sea still surged behind them. Okay? So, like I said, Crystal's going to say that Moses is the law. I beg to differ. I say Moses is the muscle. I think Moses was like some mercenary, some hired help to get Israel out of there. Okay? I'm going to tell y'all why. Let's keep going. If this is even the group that wasn't amongst Joshua, but that's a whole nother story. But let's keep going. So she wants to do a series for us of Miriam as the first prophet, right? Deborah, the first commander, and Huldah, the prophet king's consultant. All right. So I say I want to make 2 episodes, a doubleheader. I was ambitious, guys. I thought I was going to do both of these, but I can't. All right. So Crystal wants to title this one, The Woman in the Water. Miriam, the first prophet. The spirit moved before the law. The woman walked before the word was written. All right. There wasn't, y'all got to understand, we walked it out. We walked this out. It's almost like being pre-programmed to walk this out. Anything counter to this is the harlot spirit. She wants to do episodes. We're not about that. She wants to highlight these scriptures, though, right? Miriam, the prophetess, leads the first recorded praise procession. All right, when she breaks out the timbrel and she leads them in dance across the dry land. All right. Micah is sent by God, named alongside Moses and Aaron. She's sent by God and she's named alongside them. Her authority is challenged and defended by the Creator. Water theme, she sings at the sea. Is punished supposedly with leprosy, right? And I get into that later on because before I bring my argument to y'all, I prepare myself with counter arguments. And you're going to see where I do that later on. And Crystal equips us. All right, so let's go. We're not doing Joseph. Yeah, she wants to give me the words to say, and I'm not with that. So initially, I wanted to get into the women warriors and Deborah, but for the sake of this episode going quicker, we're going to save those 2 folders for another day. Matter of fact, let's just take them out of there right now. Okay, let's put them over there. Let's go like this. I'm going to show y'all why, because it's not really necessary to this episode. So forgive the title above. Let's go. Okay, I want to get to the word Ebed, because why do I say that Moses is a servant, slave? And I say specifically like some sort of mercenary. I look at Moses like, all right, y'all know I got to bring a movie in. But the movies with Arnold Schwarzenegger back in the days. What was those movies? Where he was always sent in there to get somebody out of the jungle because they was lost. And he was yelling, get to the chopper. Anyway, this is Moses, okay? Moses is, in fact, rolling like Arnold Schwarzenegger. He is sent in to get y'all out. He is a servant, okay? And I personally think he was just the muscle, okay? And always relied on his muscle. And that's why he struck the rock. He had some corrupted ways, man. Let's go. Okay, so the reason we get to the word Ebed, I'm going to have to pause this because I got to bring in that verse. Okay, actually, before we even get to that definition, I want to take y'all over to here, to how we get that word Ebed. All right, we got that word Ebed from Exodus 14:31. Servant of the Lord. The highest title, let's scroll up, or tribute you could give a person in the Old Testament was to call him the servant of, they got Yahweh, whoever they plugged in there, all right? But the creator, right? The Hebrew word for a servant, Eber, right? Doesn't that sound like the opposite of Ezer, which the woman would have been the Ezer? All right, Eber denotes God-given authority as the accredited messenger. The accredited messengers of the Lord. The servant of the Lord was one who was chosen by the Creator. The original implies the position of a slave. Do you hear that? Okay, you hear thinking that this man is some sort of prophet, when in fact, he doesn't put that title on himself. The Creator don't put it on him. And as a matter of fact, to be a servant of the Lord was to be a slave. Some sort of hired help, you know. Didn't mean that, because our definition of slave was different than what they made a slave to be today, right? And this was whatever it was in relationship to the Creator, right? A servant of the Lord in the Old Testament, right? So let's see who else has this title. Abraham is the servant of the Lord. Moses is called the servant of the Lord. And Moses, my servant, more often than anyone else in the Old Testament. But no, I thought he was a prophet. I thought we were looking for his bones. What? Y'all need to get it together. This man did not make it into the promised land. Bye, Moses. When that happened, bye, Moses. Clearly, he did something that I'm not rocking with him with, because the Creator didn't even allow him in. He was never supposed to probably go in there. This is probably stuff they done wrote fantastical tales, because don't forget, Judah got the pen too. All right, Abraham is the servant, and it says Moses, all right, more often than anyone else in the Old Testament. We're right here. Moses, the servant of the Creator, is almost the official title of Moses. You heard that? That's his official title. Not prophet. Moses, the servant of the Creator, is almost the official title of Moses. The author of Hebrews describes Moses as a servant in God's house when he writes, Moses was faithful in all his house as a servant. Joshua, Moses' servant, who led Israel into the promised land, was also called the servant of the Lord at the end of his life. At the end of his life, right? That's where they snuck that in, probably. Not to say that Joshua, because Joshua was faithful to the Creator. He was the one that was pushing everything that was in Deuteronomy to us. You know what I'm saying? Pretty much. As for me and my house, we're going to serve the Creator. Joshua was dragging them out of caves, laying them down, doing everything the Creator had asked. Okay. Joshua, Moses' servant, who led Israel into the promised land, was also called the servant of the Lord at the end of his life. Caleb and King David are called the servant of the Lord. BS, I call cap. I told y'all, they got the pen. They're writing themselves in there like that. You know what Judah does. You know what Judah does. If I could only run out of stuff to talk about concerning Judah, believe me, I would stop. If I could only run out of stuff to talk about that they did, you would hear me stop calling their names. The Lord speaks of his prophets saying, I've sent you all my servants, the prophets. Okay, so are they the servants or are they prophets? Isaiah is called the servant of the Lord. Elijah and Job are called servants of the Lord. Even Nebuchadnezzar, king of Babylon, is called my servant. The old Babylonian king thought he was king of the hill, but in reality, he was only an instrument in the hands of the Creator. The redeemed are his servants, as we would expect according to Psalms 34:22. All right, so this is the nation of Israel was even called the servant of the Creator. It is from this servant nation that God sent the suffering servant. Then they're going to get into JC, okay? This is where, I told you if I could run out of stuff that Judah did, I would stop talking about them. But look, this is where Judah put somebody in your hands. All right? This is where you get JC from. Let's go back. So, Ebed. I came for Ebed, right? Where'd it go? Ebed. This is what we came for. This is how we got that word, Ebed. Because Moses is referred to as an Ebed. Okay? Let's go back now. Now we're going to go to the definition and the etymology. Or was it the Strong's Concordance? Whatever we did. Let's go there. We went to both the etymology. Let's go here. All right, yeah, it's slave, servant. Okay. They got some names associated down here, linked to this name, to this word, Ebed. The first Ebed is the father of a man named Gal, who teamed up with the men of Shechem and aggravated their insurrection against Abimelech, the judge. Ebed number 2 is the son of Jonathan, of the family of, he came back from the family of Aden, who was returned from exile from Ezra. Yeah, this word comes directly from the root word to serve, or to be a servant. See? The word Abed means to work or serve. Sounds like earn it by the sweat of your brow. To work or to serve denotes someone who works from a slave to a hired expert. See, now this is why I feel like Moses was brought in. Yeah, as some sort of mercenary. But we've been confused. We've been planting this title prophet on him when it's not even in there. It's not even in there. But I tell you who is in there. The prophetess. Yes, let's go to that. Who are the women prophets in the Bible? The following is from an Ask Expert segment. Let's go. Oh, we're not going to ask them we're not even going to read that first one. But down here is relevant. All right. Women prophets in the Old Testament. The label prophetess or woman prophet, a nebia, right, is attributed to 5 women in the Old Testament. That's what they're going to say, but they're going to bring in the new. So we got Miriam, right here, Deborah, and Huldah. The prophetess is significant. Its significance is clear. Miriam claimed the Lord has spoken through her. Numbers 12:2. She says the Lord has spoken through her. Deborah says to Barak, look, the Lord, the God of Israel, has commanded. Huldah similarly used a prophetic introductory formula. Thus says the Lord God of Israel. Scripture then describes a woman prophet as someone through whom God speaks to his people. In this regard, a prophetess is no different than her male counterpart, the prophet. For this reason, I prefer the translation woman prophet. I do too. You know that? I like what this person said. Like, don't try to demote me and put no ESS on the end to soften me up. All right? Because one of the kings said, I don't want to hear from her. She never tells me nothing I want to hear. You want to know why? Don't soften me up, because it is nothing soft about me. I'm going to give you that raw truth, because I'm not kissing these men's asses. Why would I kiss an ass that I give birth to? I don't fear these men. You do, sir. And I ain't talking to the sons. I'm talking to the non-sons. The ones that keep falling in line with this patriarchal BS. You keep it going because of your fear. I don't fear these men. So call me what I am, a woman prophet. Give me my respect. Don't soften me up. There's nothing soft about me. I ain't here just for these women. Women prophets in the New Testaments. Newsflash, kings consulted me, not the other way around. Now they're going to try to bring in Anna, okay? Now I told you this is that New Testy stuff, so we're not going to read this because this is irrelevant to us. We just came for these three ladies. We came for these three. Miriam, Deborah, and Huldah. We found out Miriam was the first. You know, they're going to say Miriam is cursed with leprosy later. I told you when they start getting into this health stuff, it's sounding pretty sensational, isn't it? So you do what you want with that. But I personally believe it's Judah with the pen again, trying to defame Miriam. Hey, I could be wrong. That's my belief system. All right, that word Nebiah came up. That's Strong's 5031. Nebiah. Prophetess. Like I said, I like woman prophet better than this prophetess stuff. Okay? Yeah, it's the feminine of prophet. So it doesn't have to be a prophetess. Don't soften me up. Feminine of Nibit. A prophetess, or generally inspired woman by implication. A poetess. By association. They're going to try to dumb it down. A prophet's wife, right? It's the femme of Nabi, right? So I wonder what Nabi says, right? This one says an inspired woman by implication. A poetess, right? What does the Nabi say? This is the masculine. An inspired man. Not by implication. Prophecy, prophet, spokesman, speaker, prophet, huh? Let's go back to the Nebiah. An ancient type endowed with gift of song, consulted for a word of. Noadiah, false prophet, the wife of Isaiah. I told you there were 3 Isaiahs supposedly, so we got to get to the bottom of that too, guys. They're going to bring in the verses that are bringing these ladies in. Look, in there, it's right in that order. Miriam, Deborah, Huldah. Miriam the prophetess, Aaron's sister. Now, I point out later on, pay attention to that, guys. Notice, Miriam is only pointed out as being Aaron's sister. You're not going to find a verse that says she's Moses' sister. It keeps being referred to as Aaron's sisters, guys. I'm trying to tell y'all something. It's this relation through a relation. I don't know if maybe they have different mothers and Aaron and her have the same mother, and therefore her and Moses and Aaron, her and Aaron have a different mother potentially than Moses, but same father. Could be some of that going on. But you're going to keep seeing her being referred to as Aaron's sister, guys. I'm trying to tell y'all something. Something weird was going on with that too, and I peeped it because this made me personally ask, could Miriam not even be a Levite? Could Miriam not be a Levite? And I asked that because of the way she's blessed, guys. It made me think of the midwives. We went to that story a while ago, guys, and there was this line of midwives, and I'm going to have Crystal go through that too, that there was this line of midwives that was supposed to be blessed. And I wondered, could Miriam be Pua? And would that explain why she was chosen for this role? I wondered, because notice she's also watching over the baby as well, one of the babies that they wanted killed. So it sounds like the same story to me, guys, like a continuation of that story where those 2 midwives fail to listen to the Pharaoh and they do not kill the babies when they're being born. So as a result, the Pharaohs want to kill the babies that were born. Does she save Moses from that group of the Pharaohs that wanted her to be Moses to be wiped out because they allowed the babies to be born? I mean, it could be. I cannot prove it, but this makes me speculate. Miriam is chosen for a reason. All right. So if she is Levi, she was chosen for a reason out of Levi. And I wondered if it was pure. Or maybe she's not even Levi. Because notice it says she's Aaron's sister. Pay attention. So let's keep going. I just wanted to point that out because I'm sure that went over a couple of people's heads. I told you, we going on rides to places we've never been before. Trust and believe me. Now, Deborah, a prophetess, right? We got Deborah next. Huldah, the prophetess. Now, they keep mentioning these ladies as the wife, but they will not show their lines. I've taken you guys to Fab Pedigree and shown you you're not going to see no children from out of Deborah's line. You're not going to see no children from out of Huldah's line. They act like these women are a mystery. I don't even think you see any out of Miriam's line. So let's go back. Now we know who the prophetess is, right? The woman prophet. I told you I don't like that word either. I just don't. Sorry, we were just there. All right, so we're going to come out of this. Because this episode, you might want to pause here, guys.